Alright, hello everyone! I'm back! Finally, okay, I apologize that my last video was like a very long time ago. Well, I had finals, they all went well, and then a bunch of other stuff came in, had some work to do, went to go do some stuff with some friends, but hey, I'm finally back, and it's good to be back. And as always, welcome back to Off Meta Mayhem, the series where I grab a random effect that Pilgrimmed has to offer, and I try to build onto that effect as much as I can, and I'll see how well that element and status effect can work against enemies, bosses, etc. And as per usual, we have already done a lot of the elements that we had on stock, so let's see which one we will be doing today by spinning the good old wheel. We only have fire and chill left, so let's go! Now, I actually want to do fire more than chill for this one, and there's a reason. So hopefully it's fire, please. Alright, well, I guess we're doing chill. So we'll be leaving fire for last. So, before we do it, let's get into it. Alright everyone, so as you saw, we were supposed to be doing chill today as the debuff chill. However, when I actually started looking at builds and such, and any accessory that focuses on chill, what I realized is that there really isn't any. I mean, I'm still going to be using a frost weapon, of course, but chill seems, at least in Pilgrim, to have been created to function as frostburn. Everything and most accessories tend to be turning chill into frostburn and boosting frostburn. There's nothing that actually boosts chill itself. Now, I don't really want to go out of my way to do a frostburn build, because this is off-meta mayhem. Frostburn is quite literally one of the meta effects that there is in game. It is one of the big ones, per se, as there are so many accessories that buff it that you can truly make these big, astounding builds with them. So, I went and did a little bit of digging. I mean, we all know that chill, by default, would be a slowing effect. But after I did a little bit more of a deep dive search, I realized that chill is not just slowing, but it's also a defense reduction. You can see this through the description of the Frost Gem. The only thing that I could see, or that I could find, that would actually give me a description of the effects of chill. Now, yes, I could also get hit by an enemy with like an ice weapon to get the chill debuff, but I think I'll end up going with the Frost Gem's description. So I decided to, for this episode, to deviate a little bit from it. Like chill decreases enemy defense and makes them slower, I'll focus on those two aspects to build this build: slowness and defense reduction. Defense reduction, because there's not much else that can really reduce defense, will be piercing, because it goes through defense. More or less the same idea, not really, but you get what I mean. And then slowness, I also focus on slowness. And there are two different items that can do that. We have the mummy wraps, a helmet which makes it so your melee attacks slow enemies down by 50%, as well as the draining stake, an item that will apply heavy weakness and slowness to enemies hit that are bleeding. So just wanted to say a quick disclaimer like that sadly chill as an effect itself and as a status condition is pretty much given zero love in Pilgrim, while all the other ones at least had something. So with that out the way, let's get into the actual build. See you guys. Alright guys, build time. So first of all, we're going to talk about the weapons we're going to be using. Of course, I kind of want to use, for this chill video, I want to use some ice weapons that you don't tend to see too much. So I'm going to be using the Mithril Sword, something that you can very easily obtain very quickly by just speaking to one of the NPCs at the mountain. And I'm going to be using the Ice Dagger, which recently I have been seeing more of, but you'll see why I'm using this weapon in just a little bit. So build-wise, you guys already saw that we're actually going to be focusing more on the effects that chill provides rather than the effect itself, due to being literally there's just nothing that does this. There's nothing in the game that really buffs chill itself. So the build that I came up with after a little bit of thinking and still wanting to use these ice weapons is, of course, here. So the mummy wraps, like I mentioned before, are the only accessories that I could find that would actually slow down opponents consistently, being melee attacks, slow down enemies hit by 50%. Frostcoat I'm using because this is still a chill video, so I have to use ice-based stuff in it as well to get that 10% more damage. Diamond Ring is just more damage. Corroded Scalpel, we are applying chill and multiple other effects, so it's just free damage. Draining Stake, this is a big one, because this is once again what applies slowness on them, saying heavy slowness. This Antenna is pretty much our way of being able to proc Draining Stake. This is how we are going to be able to get that bleeding. And then I'm using the Shark Tooth Necklace because, well, it gives 5% crit chance, and it simply increases the piercing, which plays along with the idea of the defense reduction on enemies. So the whole point of this build is just, you just keep on attacking, honestly. You want to just get lucky with your bleed procs, because of the Frost gem that you're obviously going to be using on these Frost weapons. You're always going to apply a speed reduction into your opponents, a lot of slowness. And of course, if you hit opponents that are bleeding and you get those crits, they're going to be slowed even more. Now, it's going to be a little bit hard to show the stacking of these debuffs, as at least over here against Steves and stuff, it's a little bit harder to show, but I'll show you at least the item itself. So let's see. Just the slowness itself. I guess that's a slime, but you know what? You guys get the idea. It's just a slime, but it's a lot of slowness, and things are going to pretty much be going as well. Now, for the Ice Dagger, it's the exact same thing. The thing is, with the Ice Dagger, is that due to its higher attack speed, you have a higher chance of proccing your crit. More hits, more chances of crits. And that rhymed, that was nice. So yeah, that's pretty much the build. This is a little bit of a... You can kind of consider this a support build, because the DPS is decent at best. And pretty much, you're really just going to be there to apply all of these debuffs. Weakness is quite useful, especially because you're going to be taking less damage. And slowness might help against some bosses, but other bosses that maybe are ranged or naturally slow might not really be affected. But hey, you guys are going to see the results of that in just a little bit. So, let's get to it. Alright guys, stat time. Starting with the Mithril Sword. Now this Mithril Sword is a medium game to early game, depending if you know what you're doing or not. A medium melee weapon, which can be obtained through two different ways. First way, Thimble, the blacksmith in the mountain area right outside the inn. And you can buy it from him for 400 gold and 6 mithril. Now the second way you can obtain this is through Frigid Soldiers, which there is no reason you should be doing it to get this weapon. It is significantly harder, they do a lot of damage, I speak from experience, and it's just significantly harder to get them because you have to go to the Ice Maze, which you can find just by spawning on top of Cloudlands, and if you look down, I think a little bit to your right, I'm not sure exactly, but it's a right below the Cloudlands pretty much. And this weapon has a base stat of 20, a range of +8, and an element of Frost. Well, that's it. The weapon doesn't really have much going with it because it's pretty much an early to mid-game weapon. So they can't really do too much with it so that you're not given too strong of a weapon too early into the game. Now, the thing is with this weapon is that the only really unique thing that it has going for it is that while its critical is still the normal sword spin for three quick hits, it actually empowers the weapon with this like Frost aura, which looks pretty much like the exact same aura that the Frost gem gives to a weapon. And that means that when you spin, that's how you can 100% guarantee that you inflict chill, which is pretty much the only unique thing going for this weapon, because the M1s don't actually proc chill at all. Now, as you saw, it only has a damage stat of 20. That is really low for a medium melee weapon, as it's even lower than weapons like the normal claw. And we all know how the normal claw isn't that great of a weapon at all, only having 22 base damage. Meanwhile, we have other weapons that do 30, 28, things like that, 26 even, some higher numbers. But of course, this is a mid-game to early weapon. Like I said, it can't be too strong. Which is why the footage in the background is very atrocious, per se. Because, well, I'm fighting an endgame boss compared using a very early game weapon. Now, the other weapon you're going to be seeing is the Ice Dagger. Now, the Ice Dagger is a boss drop from the Ice King with a 12.6% chance. Now, this weapon has a damage of 16, a range of +6, a swing speed of +20%, knockback of -60%, and an element of Frost. Now, the cool thing is about the Ice Dagger is that, besides, well, having just being a dagger per se and having that quick attack speed, it also has a unique effect where you have a chance to spawn icicles on struck foes for more damage. This applies to both your M1s and your critical, with your critical having simply a higher chance to proc these icicles. It might even be guaranteed, actually. I haven't exactly tested that. But the thing is, it's not. Before you say that this is an RNG-based weapon, it's actually not that bad. The chance is quite high, and you are going to be seeing these things very often. Now, the Ice King is not too difficult of a boss. He's a very early game boss with only around 800 health, being to the lower end of boss HPs that you're going to be facing. And he's quite easy due to the fact that he has a very low number of attacks. They're very easily telegraphed. And even though he does roll a lot, just ignore it pretty much. You're not going to notice a thing. Now, normally I'd only describe the weapons in this section, but I actually want to describe some of the accessories that we're using because of all the contradicting effects that Chill has. Not contradicting, but the extra effects that Chill has, as and how not many accessories really buff them. We're going to be talking about the mummy wraps, which are a 5% drop from the mummy enemy, which can be found anywhere in the Temple of Foreboding Terror, pretty much that temple area with Viper Head in. And another accessory that I want to talk about is the Draining Stake, which you can buy for Simon for 600 gold. Now, Simon is a vampire NPC in a small island to the right of Big Iron. And I'm not sure if you need to be a vampire to be able to buy it from him. Hopefully not. But this weapon is what allows you to apply heavy slowness and weakness to bleeding opponents. And the Mummy Wrap is what lets your melee attacks slow enemies by 50% with every hit. Now that all of this has been said, let's see how these weapons fare in Big Iron. Alright guys, final section of the video. Thank you guys so much for, watching until this final part. It means a lot, especially after this long wait that I've had for making videos. Now, as I said before, this video was a little bit different, as you guys probably noticed. I did try, I really did, to see how many things I could do with the full status effect, but I ended up realizing that it was a very short video, as I really didn't have anything to work with. So instead of doing that, I decided to, like you guys saw, do this on the stats. So it still ended up working quite fun, and still quite fun to make this video. And, well, I guess all I can say is like and subscribe if you like this video, or if anyone wants. And I'll be seeing you guys in the next episode, which will be the final episode before I'd say I make a grand finale. I'm really excited to make it. So, yeah, see you guys.